Hey guys, thanks for stopping by the channel. So this summer I've had a little bit of time here and there to get out and work on the layout. I just haven't always had my camera, so I thought I'd put together a quick layout update video to show you some of the progress I've made. Alright guys, so one of the first things I want to share with you is the paper backdrop that I installed on this section of the layout. I'm just going to pan right as I talk here. But the blue backdrop has worked out okay, and I like the rock work that I've done in the past, but I always felt like this scene didn't have a ton of depth. So I printed out these paper backdrops. They're just some photos of some foothills, and I cut them and put them in there, and it really gives this portion of the layout more depth. I'm going to pan back. And I really like the way that that's come out. And with the way I did the rock work at the top, it actually was pretty easy to install. And it just gives you the illusion that there's a little something beyond. And that's all that I was looking for. So next up is a section of scenery here between two tunnel portals. I got this scenery in, and I ended up making it a lot more rocky. I initially had the cardboard lattice and some plaster cloth, and then I went through and I added some rock molds, and I really like the way that's come together. Some ground cover, and I'm going to add a few more trees and use some more chalks in here. But for the base scenery, this portion here is done. And if you look at the top in the middle there, that blue backdrop, I think I'm going to add a piece of that photo backdrop like I just showed you guys, just so that it looks like there's a little something beyond. So here's another section of scenery that I got painted up and got the base landscaping in. You'll notice I got the track ballast. I've been working on that in the areas where I've got the base scenery completed. I'm going to zoom back here just a little bit. And a little bit of water in here as well. And what I did here is I used like a midnight blue, and I put some black to it. I put the midnight blue down in just a little trial area, and I didn't like it. And I did a little bit of, YouTube University, and everybody was saying put a little bit of black with your color for your water, so I did that. And then I put 2 coats of Mod Podge, like a semi-gloss, to give it just a little bit of that sheen. And then I used a brush to kind of stipple it in there so that the surface of the water is not perfectly flat. It gives it a little bit of depth. And then I added a bunch of cattails and kind of some bushes that I think you would see right along the shoreline. Remember, my layout is supposed to be the BNSF Fall Bridge Division along the Columbia River Gorge. So this would just be a little inlet off of the main Columbia River channel. So that's the look I'm going for. I do have more detailing I'd like to do in here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And sorry for the lighting, it gets a little wonky. But here on the left and on the right, I want to do a little more detailing here. But overall, this is coming together pretty well. So here's the lift out section. You can see the bear. I got a train coming here too, so I'm just going to leave it. We'll follow the train around. So I've had this section done for a while, and then if I pan over to the right, this is a section I've started working on, the rock work. Let me get here and zoom in just a little bit. And I'm using rock molds, and I've gotten some of the painting and weathering started. I think I'll do a little bit of a water inlet there at the bottom. That's just roughed in. I'm going to do another plaster placement there at the bottom to get that nice and level before I go for the final work on the water there. But I think I'm going to keep working the plaster rock cast up the back there. I do not have a ton of room, so the cast will work well right there. And I think what I'll do is over here in this corner of the layout, I think I'll bring that kind of where it gradually comes down. I'll have a rock face along the rail there, and I think I'm going to do some sort of kind of like a pasture with some cows and maybe an old barn, something that's far from society, but something that you would typically see. There's some cattle ranchers there along the Columbia River Gorge, but I think that's what I'm going to do there. And like I said, here's some more of that rock work that I've gotten started on. I've got one other thing that I worked on that I want to show you guys. Okay guys, so the other thing I did is I put a signal light at each end of my passing siding, aka my yard. Again, my layout's only 12 inches deep, so I don't have enough room for a real yard. But to give the illusion that there's a little more going on, I wanted to put signals at each end. And then I wired them to a 3-way toggle switch here in the middle, which I'll show you. So when I throw the switch, it just flips the from red to green. And what I did is I wired both lights into the same switch and then wired the red and green opposite at each end. So when this end here is green, the other end's red. And if I throw this one to red, I'm going to pan the camera around here. This end of the yard is green. And like I said, it's just I'll show you the toggle switch here. It's just mounted to the face of the layout, and I can turn them off here in the middle, change it one way, change it the other way. Easy peasy, super simple. It adds a ton of interest having the signal lights for photos and videos, and then when we're farting around out here doing a quasi operating session, it's kind of fun. Just adds a little bit more realism to the railroad. But I'll close this one out with some more video of the trains running.